Hey everyone, Rick Hagar here. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to jump on my live stream. I'm coming to you from my home here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I've got a great topic that I want to share with you here on this live stream here today. And that topic is giving you 3 tips that I've used over the course of 25 years to build organizations in excess of 200,000 people, generate hundreds of millions of dollars in global revenue, and produce millions upon millions of dollars in commissions, not just for myself, but also for partners. And these are very simple concepts. I get people that will come to me all the time and will say, what's the best way to work with a team? What's the best way to work once you begin to get an organization together and an organization growing? And so I'm going to share with you a couple of thoughts, a couple of ideas, and they may seem overly simplistic as I get into them, but rest assured, they have really truly helped me to become successful within our industry, and they were taught to me by my mentor, who is a co-founder of a $1 billion plus company, and I think they will work for you if you fully understand them, and we'll get into some details. As we get started here, I would love to know where you are coming in from. If you're on this live or on the replay, please go ahead and let me know, and let me know what city, what state, what province you might be coming in from and what parts of the world. You know, if I go back on the replay afterwards, I'd love to be able to acknowledge you, say hello to you, and be engaged. And if you have any thoughts or ideas or comments as we get through this, I would love for you to share them. Any ideas that you think can add to this conversation, please feel free to do that. Be much appreciated. Again, I'm a big fan of creating a ripple effect, whereas when you share something, if other people can be impacted by that, I really believe that comes back to you. And so I really appreciate if you have some thoughts and ideas that you would share. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into this now. I've been doing network marketing for 25 years, working primarily from home full time. It's the only way that I drive my income. Built organizations of hundreds of thousands of people globally, many countries, millions of dollars in earnings. And I'm going to share with you concepts that I have found that have worked for me, and I'm going to pass them along to you. Some of them may seem overly simplistic. My style has always been to be very simple with what I do in my business, because I believe very strongly that the more simple you can make things, the more people will see the possibilities and get involved. Does that make sense? Let me know if you believe that. So this may sound ridiculously simple, but I'm going to share with you 3 tips right now that can help you to more effectively work with people, which will enable your team to grow and expand, create more volume, and become more successful in your business. Okay, here's number 1, and this may sound obvious to you, but I'm going to break it down a little bit and let you see kind of how it is for some people. Okay, number 1 tip to work with your team is treat everyone nice and treat everyone with respect, because of a couple different reasons. Number 1, it's the right thing to do. And number 2, you don't know where your power is going to come from in your organization. Now, let me kind of break that down and unpack that for you here. Treat everyone nice, treat everyone with respect. First of all, because it's the right thing to do. You know, people look at network marketing, they look at our business model as a place where they can feel good about themselves and feel good about being a part of something. And for us to be able to create that environment, we've got to treat people good. You know, we want to be treated good, so we should treat other people good. Regardless of their experience, their background, what we think or don't think about what they can bring to the table, we've got to treat people great. It's a very important concept in getting started. We want people to feel good about us. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with people where they have told me that they kind of got dissed by their upline. The upline told them that they really didn't have any time to talk with them or work with them, that they couldn't work with them until they hit a certain level. So these are things that we have to keep in mind, and how that creates feelings among certain people in the environment and the culture that we're trying to build. So you've got to treat people nice, treat people with respect. It's the right thing to do. And here's the second part of that. You never know where your power is going to come from. We've seen people in this business come from pretty horrible background circumstances and rise to the top. I've seen people that didn't have business experience, didn't have a business education, didn't have money, all become super successful in this business. And so we can't prejudge who will or who won't. And it's not wise to treat someone a certain way simply because you might not think that they can bring it. You might not think that they can become successful in your business, because maybe they have desire and they were just looking for their shot. Maybe they have something burning in the pit of their stomach where they want to be successful, and they see your opportunity as a way that they can do that. And so you just don't know where your power is going to come from. Maybe they don't go out and build a big business, but maybe they lead you to a few people who lead you to a few people who could become the biggest people in your company. So we've got to treat people nice and treat them with respect because it's the right thing to do, right? It's the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But also because there are dynamics in this business that you don't know how it's going to unfold. You can't plan for it. I call it dynamics and depth. Never forget that phrase, dynamics and depth. Dynamics in the sense that you don't know what's going to happen. Okay, it's just like a recipe. You can do it one time, you can do it a second time. Sometimes it doesn't turn out the same way. So dynamics means there are things that happen in network marketing and direct sales that we can't plan for. So you've got to treat everyone nice, treat everyone with respect. And dynamics and depth means that more often than not, your winners in your group are going to come in depth. So you've got to treat people great because that's what's going to make them want to talk to more people. See, here's the thing. If you don't treat people nice and with respect, like the example that I just gave you a moment ago, where people say, well, I don't have time for Sally because Sally just got started and I'm so busy. I'm a big producer in my company. Let Sally, work with someone else until she gets to a certain level. Then I'll work with her. How does that make Sally feel? We've got to look at the things that we say and the things that we do and the attitudes that we have. How does that make our organizations feel? How does that make new people feel? If they feel like there's no room for them or that people won't work with them or they can't get the support, they may not go forward, and that could really disrupt the dynamics in your business and cause you not to find certain key people that could be huge in your organization, not to mention the fact that it's just wrong to treat people like that. So number one is treat people nice, treat them with respect. It's the right thing to do, and you just don't know where your power is going to come from. There are dynamics you can't plan for, and there's things that happen in depth that you can't plan for. So you've got to create the right culture and environment literally from day one. Now here's my quick and by the way, how are you making people feel? Because that determines a lot about whether people will really go for it or not. It's about culture building. But here's my disclaimer around number one. You're going to have people in your group. You're going to find people in your business that are really, let's just say that they're rude. Let's maybe say that they'll do things that are shortcuts, unethical. Maybe you don't want to affiliate or associate with some of these people in your group. Maybe they're negative. Maybe they're toxic. Maybe they like drama. You can still be nice. You can still smile. You can still treat them good. And you can distance yourself a little bit from them, okay? So that's the disclaimer. If you get someone who really is not what you're looking to build with in terms of building a positive, nurturing culture, you can always move away from someone like that. But by and large, you want to treat people great and treat people with a lot of respect simply because of the reasons that I've shared. That's philosophy number one. Now, it sounds like it would be common sense. It sounds like that it shouldn't even be a thought, but you would be amazed at how many people walk past new people, inexperienced people for that reason, and won't work with them or spend time with them. And how does that make people feel? It doesn't create an environment for dynamics to unfold for you, and you really do want that. So that's number one, and those are the reasons. Treat everyone nice, treat everyone with respect. Now here's number two, and this is a real important one. Number two is let people be what they're going to be. Let people be what they're going to be. Everybody that comes into your organization, they're going to have different goals. They're going to have different dreams. They're going to want different levels of involvement. They're going to have different levels of engaging with your opportunity. And it's a huge mistake for you to try to take your goals and what you want to accomplish and put it on them. Does that make sense? I remember early in my career, you got to remember, I used to work in the business development industry before I got into network marketing. So I was in an environment where, if you've ever heard of people like Brian Tracy or Jim Rohn or Tony Robbins or Tom Hopkins, I used to work putting events together where they would come and speak. So I was all about peak performance. I was all about self-development. I was always about being your best. And for me, I couldn't understand why some people didn't want to go straight to the top. So in the early stages of my career, what I would do is when someone would come into my organization, I would take my goals, which were very, very big, and try to impose my goals on them. I would try to push them to hit the next rank. I would try to push them to create more volume. I would try to push them to break records. And guess what that does when someone really isn't looking for that? If they maybe only have a goal to make an extra 300 or 400 or 500 a month for themselves and their family, and that's really all they can see or want right now, if they maybe just want to try using the products a little bit, and that is 80+% of your organization, if you're trying to push your goals on them or your system or your pattern on them and they're not quite there, guess what you do? You have the propensity to run people off. Even though you might be trying to help them, you could run them off because their goals at this particular moment do not align with your goals. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because I know early in my career, I ran a lot of people off that I really didn't have to. And again, go back to the first comment that I shared with you about dynamics and depth. If you run people off by not letting them be what they're going to be, and you make them very uncomfortable in the beginning, and you try to impose your goals and your will on them, and it's not really what they're looking for, and you run them off, well, what have you potentially lost? What if they stuck in there for 6 months or so and then decided to get hot on the business? What if they, over the course of the next 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 months, would have shared it with a few people who shared it with a few, and then all of a sudden the biggest leader in your company showed up? See, if you try to impose what you want on them without letting them be what they're going to be, you can run people off and you really disrupt the potential dynamics of what can unfold and become an unbelievable business for yourself. So we don't want to make that mistake. I've made it. I know a lot of leaders make it, and it's okay. We just recognize it and we refine and we advance. What you can basically do, if you've got people that don't have goals that align with yours, you still treat them great, you still treat them with respect, and what you want to do, let them know they're doing a great job, let them know how much you appreciate them, keep the events, keep the details in front of them, and let them be what they're going to be. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So that's number 2, okay? Number 3 is understanding and utilizing the 80-20 rule in our business when it comes to your team, your organization, and working with people. The 80-20 rule, for those of you that don't know, probably everybody knows right now, is something called the Pareto principle. It was designed many years ago by an Italian economist named Vilfredo Pareto. It had to do with the study of real estate in Italy. And what he found was that 80% of the property was owned by about 20% of the people, and they began to correlate that in other areas of life, and they found that that number holds up in a lot of different things. So, for example, in the insurance industry, probably 80% of the insurance sales are made by 20% of the people. In real estate, 80% of the revenue and volume is done by 20% of the people. It's the same thing in network marketing. As you go through this process of building and developing your team, remember, number 1, you're treating everyone nice, treating everyone with respect, letting the dynamics unfold. Number 2, you're letting people be what they're going to be. You're working with them and you're just kind of allowing them to be what they want to be, and you're just building a culture where everybody feels appreciated and respected and cared for and loved, regardless of where they might be. You're going to have some people begin to surface that maybe their goals are aligned with yours. If you let this process unfold, I don't like this phrase, but it is accurate. The cream rises to the top. What that basically means is that the right ones that want to run and run big, they're going to surface. They're absolutely going to surface. And then what you can do is you can begin to dial into those people and invest a little bit more time with those people. And so it's the 80-20 rule. What you want to do is you want to use your events and use your tools to work with a larger group of people, because there is a limit on your time. There's a limit to how much you can do and how much time you can invest. So you want to make sure that you're treating people great and you're letting them be what they want to be, but you're guiding them toward events and tools. If you do calls, if you do webinars, live streams, whatever it might be, you keep them apprised, you treat them great, you get them dialed in and plugged in, and you try to use the tools to leverage your time to make sure that your message always gets to everybody. And then the 20%ers that begin to show themselves, you build an extra special relationship with those people, and you build what I call, or refer to as a lot of leaders do, your core group. It could be 4, 5, 6, 7 people. Those become your core group. You treat everybody great, but you still have a core group that emerge through this process of building and developing your business. And so one of the things that I always do, and here's a little tip, as you're going through this process of putting a team together, when you communicate and interact with people, always tell them, call me. Always tell them, pick up the phone, call me if you have any questions, need anything, need any support. My phone line is always open to you. Now, by the way, most people won't call you. Most people won't go through that and call you. Maybe they feel intimidated. Maybe they don't want to bother you. I don't know what it is. But most people at least feel like there's support there. But if you ask them to call you, it puts the onus on them to call you. The ones that do are probably going to be the good characteristic traits for people that become your core group. So you always want to let people know your communication line is open and have them call you, and you build this core group. Never forget this. Building network marketing organizations is largely about creating relationships. It's largely about creating relationships. It's about building a culture and building an environment where everybody feels like they're being treated great, where they love the feel of what it is that they're involved with. They feel good about themselves because they're involved in something. Maybe that the world doesn't make them feel that way at the job or at home or out in the community. Maybe being a part of your team makes them feel a certain way. That's what you want. You want to make them feel good about themselves for making that decision. You want to make them feel good about you as an upline leader that's supporting them in their efforts. And you want to make them feel good about your company and your product and how it is that you're developing that organization. So you treat everyone nice and treat everyone with respect for that reason. That sets the stage for dynamics to begin to take play as you build your business. And then secondly, you got to let people do what they're going to do, but you got to keep all the details, data, events, and everything in front of them. Encourage them. Praise them when you can for doing what they're doing and for being a part of what it is that you're involved in. And then thirdly, you have to, through that process, find the core group that you're really going to get close to, and you're going to spend the majority of your time with them, and you'll support the rest of the folks in a great way with a lot of the tools and things that you can leverage your time with, and then you grow with your core. And then your core will begin to develop their own core, and so on and so forth. And hopefully that duplicates down through your organization. And the focus on all of this is building and developing strong, solid relationships. It's building the culture where you can make people feel special and good about what it is that they're doing. And so over the course of 25 years, and these are tips that my mentor gave me a long time ago. I got to admit, I botched them at first. At first, I tried to push everybody to do things the way I wanted it to be done. But the longer I've been involved in this business, the more I've learned that the best that you can do as a leader is to lead by example and to build a culture and set the stage for people to win at whatever level that is for them. Treat them nice, treat them with respect. Give yourself a chance for dynamics to unfold. Let them be what they're going to be. And then as you go through the process, you'll dial into your core key people. And if you do that and you teach that and you train that, everyone will feel welcome. Everyone will feel like they're a part of something special. You won't needlessly run people out of your business and really thwart the dynamics that could have made all the difference in the world for you in your business and in your organization. And so I hope I've been able to share a couple of simple tips. I told you they were going to sound ridiculously simple. They are, and they almost sound like common sense, but you would be amazed at how many times we get caught up in not working with people in a way that we probably should. And you'd be amazed at how many people get run off because they were led to feel like they weren't important or that they didn't matter. And here's a newsflash. They do. Everyone matters. Everyone has different goals, dreams, and ambitions, but everyone matters no matter what those are. And it's our job as leaders to build the environment and set the stage for them to feel like they're welcomed and they want to be there, and at the same time, give them a chance and set the stage for them to win, whatever that means to them. And so again, this is Rick Hagar here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I hope I've been able to give you a couple of things that make sense. I hope you can find some value. If you feel a need to share this with people based on value, please do that. And again, if you have any thoughts, ideas, or comments that you'd like to share, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to communicate with you because I think we could create a ripple effect and just get quality information out to more people. So this is Rick Hagar here in Las Vegas signing off. I hope you have a great night, and we'll talk with you again real soon. Bye for now, everyone. See you soon.